Hey, what's up, Colorado? My name is Trevor Crow, and this is the Colorado Entrepreneur Show, where we interview founders, entrepreneurs, and other players in the startup scene to inspire action and build a community for Colorado entrepreneurs. For today's show, we have Brian Watson, who is the founder and CEO of Northstar Commercial Partners, which is one of the primary acquirers of vacant properties in many markets throughout the U.S. And the company also focuses on buying real estate assets from lenders, corporations, and other owners, and improving these properties and putting them back into productivity to create jobs and opportunities for local communities. But not only that, Brian is also the founder and CEO of Opportunity Coalition, which promotes collaboration among the people of Colorado in new business startups to create quality jobs throughout Colorado. So, Brian, clearly we have a lot to talk about here with all the things you got going on. But before we get into it, can you tell us a little bit about your background before you started Northstar?
Absolutely. Well, Trevor, thank you for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it and appreciate you sharing the stories of entrepreneurs because we need a whole lot more of them throughout the state and country. So thank you for that. So background on myself, I grew up on the western slope of Colorado in Olathe, Colorado, which is known for its sweet corn. And everything about the western slope is in my blood in terms of hunting and fishing and appreciation of agriculture and the outdoors. And got the opportunity to go to the University of Colorado at Boulder for school to study real estate. And after graduating from Boulder, I became a broker with Cushman & Wakefield of Colorado. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I came from a family of entrepreneurs, and that's what we discussed around the dinner table at night is what company were you going to go start and try to make a difference. And so after being at Cushman & Wakefield for 7 years and learning the business as the best I could, I went ahead and started Northstar Commercial Partners. And Northstar, the focus of the company is to go out and buy vacant properties and to put those into productivity to create jobs and opportunity. And we're coming up on our 15th anniversary now.
Now, I read your bio and you had done very well at Cushman Wakefield, and so I'm assuming you were monetarily everything was going great there. Was that a tough move to take the jump to all of a sudden starting your own business, starting from scratch? Well, not necessarily from scratch, but close.
Well, I think you must have talked to my wife maybe before this interview because it was a challenge. I mean, it's something that was in my heart. It was a dream that I always wanted to pursue. And just as I was getting into my own in terms of my confidence and abilities at Cushman & Wakefield, that calling to go out and start my own company was always with me. And I had to follow my heart. And so I came home one day to my wife and I said, I think it's time to take a step backward for a giant leap forward. And we were fortunate and have saved up enough money that we could start a little company. And we started in a few hundred square feet above Ted's Montana Grill on Larimer Square, had a little sublease space, and hired a couple of people. And that's where we started. And the goal was to go out and work our hardest and to make it a success. And if for some reason we weren't fortunate in doing so, we felt that we could go back into brokerage if we needed to do so.
So how did you come up with the idea for the Northstar model? I mean, was that something that you always had in mind or developed as you were working in the business?
Well, my father was involved in construction on the western slope, and so I was fortunate in learning the business literally from the ground up. Everything from laying brick myself and pouring concrete to swinging a hammer. Back in the day, I guess when you used to swing a hammer actually versus using a gun as you do today. But so I was exposed around real estate and appreciated it, and I appreciated the value that it brought to a community. And when I was at Cushman & Wakefield, I represented a lot of companies in their real estate needs and got to see how corporations viewed real estate. And I really started gravitating to looking at how can you take an existing building, specifically something in a metro area, maybe inner city or in an urban area, and how do you create jobs and opportunity? Because in each building, I believe that people are going into those buildings to pursue their own dreams, whatever that looks like for them. And so that was the model to begin with, to focus on working with corporations and buying the real estate they no longer wanted, their tired real estate, and putting that back into productivity. And that led on to working with lenders and others and municipalities to buying these vacant buildings and putting them back into a productive use.
So can you give us an example of how you improve these properties or what's maybe typically wrong with them that you need to do to go in and put them back into use?
Absolutely. So in our history at Northstar, we've bought everything from vacant assets to environmentally impacted assets, and so many assets we've gone in and there may be asbestos or other kinds of contamination from historical uses, and we'll go in and clean that out and get it remediated so that then tenants can occupy the space. But I'll give you a real live example, two examples. One of the buildings that we bought a few years ago was at the intersection of I-225 and Parker Road in Aurora. And this is just as the Great Recession was occurring. And there were two tenants in this 200,000 foot building over its history. One was AT&T and the other one was Dex Media for the Yellow Pages, books that we have. And Dex moved out of this building because their business model changed, and it was a completely vacant building sitting there. And we went in and acquired that building just right after the crash in 2009 on a completely vacant basis. And I think many people thought we were crazy for doing so. But we believed in Aurora, and we believed in that location and creating jobs. And we were fortunate now to have leased the building to about 7 different tenants. And literally there are close to 1,000 jobs now in that facility between ADT and the state of Colorado and other tenants that are in there. So that's one example of creating that opportunity. Another one that I would highlight for you is the Afric Mall project. It's on East Colfax. And when I bought the Innovation Pavilion building, which is a business incubator, I met some gentlemen from the African community. And for 7 years, they have been hoping and praying for a building that they could occupy that would service the African community. And so we worked with them to identify this vacant lender-owned building along East Colfax, and used to be a furniture store. And we went in and acquired the building and leased it out to them. And now they are building basically an African mall that'll have everything from a food court of many different African foods to a business incubator for new African businesses to be created there, to existing African businesses serving the community. And so that's what really gets us excited, is taking something that others often overlook and investing in it and creating something special.
That's great. Now, I didn't know you own the Innovation Pavilion. I recently had Media and Carrie Ann on the show, and they talked all about the Innovation Pavilion and what they got going on. So that's great. That's a nice project there.
They have a great project, and that is an example, another lender-owned building in the tech center. And we went there. Vic Ahmed is the founder of the Innovation Pavilion, and I met Vic through another organization, and I know that they're filling up fast, and they want to do more expansion. So they've got an exciting model down there.
Now, how do you keep these deals in the pipeline? I mean, is it just on-the-ground research on what projects are out there, or do you have people coming to you now? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we've been blessed and fortunate over the years of performing on our different assets. And the more performance you have where, it's one thing to say something, it's another thing to actually do it and to follow through. And so we have positioned ourselves as a group who is known for going out and acquiring and executing on these different deals and to creating that performance. And one deal leads to another. We also, work in several different buckets. We're always looking about how can we invest in and help our community. And I think when you do that, I think that authenticity comes through. And so we see deals, everything from groups that we've already worked with to people who have heard about us to municipalities who say, we have a vacant building or we want to create this new type of jobs in our community. And, Northstar is that group who's not only done it, but is going to be here for many years to come. I have no desire to leave Colorado. My roots will always be here, and I love Colorado. And for me, we're going to continue to invest here and be here for a very long time. So we've been fortunate in filling up the pipeline. We're also working on some new initiatives in addition to buying vacant commercial buildings. We're in the process of launching a new school fund to be able to buy buildings on behalf of charter schools throughout Colorado.
Oh, wow. Well, I do want to get into that too, but let's before that, the real estate market right now is, I would say, pretty hot. So are there still a lot of vacant properties out there? I mean, what's the sort of inventory of properties look like now?
Well, it's definitely a different market than it was a few years ago. As we all know, Colorado was ranked the top economy in the country right now, and there's definitely a lot of activity and a lot of new jobs have been created, which are all very positive. But I'm a believer that you can make a good or a bad investment in a hot or down economy, and so this is what we do every day, and so we are constantly seeing different opportunities, and sometimes it's from companies buying and selling each other. Sometimes it comes from assets that have been foreclosed upon, but we focus on buying 90% of what we buy is buying vacant assets and putting them into productivity. So we're known for that. And then the other 10% of what we acquire are through our corporate relationships, where we'll go in as those companies are buying and selling each other or moving and basically help their real estate department, or we'll buy those assets on behalf of those corporations and they can lease them from us. So there will always be deals as long as you stay focused and make sure that you're buying for the right reasons. If you get caught up in a market, you can definitely reap the consequences of that. So we always want to be smart and focused in what we're doing.
All right. Well, let me dig into this school fund a little bit. Tell me more about that. What stage is that at, and when do you think money's going to be put to work on building some of these charter schools?
So to me, education is one of the cornerstones of one's personal development, and literally, education for me is one of the civil rights issues of our day in America. And I have 3 different kids, and I'm a public school kid, and I got a great public school education, and I'm a big believer in teachers. My sister's a teacher. But we need to help create opportunities for choice and empowerment for students and for parents in Colorado. And we've really been a leader in that actually throughout the country. And so as we've been buying vacant buildings, we have been meeting different charter schools who are public schools in essence, looking for space. And some of these groups are not necessarily real estate experts. And so we are launching a new $100 million fund to go out and to acquire vacant school buildings where we can find them. They're hard to find, but there are a few. And where we can't find them, to buy vacant office, industrial, and retail buildings and to repurpose those for school uses. And if we can't find those buildings, then look at potentially going up with new vertical construction. But again, Northstar, historically, we have acquired assets at sub 40 or 50% of replacement cost. And so if we can go in and buy these buildings on behalf of the schools, and we can retrofit them and have a lease with the charter school that allows them to buy the building when they're ready, that will mean more money in the classroom because we can buy these assets at good prices. And that means more money for teachers and more money for students in the classroom. I'll give you an example. We're under contract right now to buy a 60,000 square foot building in Montbello. And a good majority of the public schools in and around that area have an F rating. And there's a charter school there that we're helping where we're buying the 60,000 foot building and they will be occupying the building. And we're buying this building for sub 25, 30% of replacement cost. And that means a lower occupancy cost for the school, which would hopefully mean more success for the students and for the parents, and to have choice and opportunity to put their kids in the environment where their children will thrive.
That's great. Yeah, and I totally agree with you on this education thing, and it's something that we need to make sure that Colorado's well positioned to have well-educated people to keep us at the top of the economic market here. So that's great. I really love what you're doing there. Tell me more about this Opportunity Coalition and how it supports collaboration and all what it does.
Originally, I came from the Western Slope. And what I noticed, and living here on the Front Range, is that Colorado is almost semi-divided into 4 different areas. There's the Western Slope, there's the mountain region, there's the Front Range, and there's the Eastern Plains. And people have different spheres of influence and the contacts that they have. And I've been fortunate over the years in meeting a lot of wonderful people. And so I founded the Opportunity Coalition, and we host an event on usually the 3rd Thursday of every month at the Innovation Pavilion. And we bring in someone who has had success, and whether that be in academia, whether it be in the legal profession or business or entrepreneurship. And that speaker comes in and shares their golden nuggets of wisdom about what they went through, almost similar to your show here. And it's an environment where people of all types can come and first meet each other and network and build bridges and connections together and to break down barriers, where they can learn golden nuggets of wisdom from people in all different types of spheres and to see how that applies to their own business. As an example, we just had an entrepreneur come in last week, Josh Stewart, with the CEO of XJet. And Josh has not only started it here, but he is now launching, globally. And there's certain nuggets of wisdom, of experience that he can share that's applicable to others. Next month, we have Bruce Benson, the president of CU, coming in talking about CU and education in Colorado. And it's just been an exciting environment, and anybody's welcome to attend. And they can learn more at opportunitycoalition.com.
And these are monthly speakers that you have, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Are they held on a certain day of every month, or does it just vary?
It's on a Thursday, and usually it's on the third Thursday of every month. However, depending on holidays and the speaker's availability, sometimes we might do it on the second Thursday. But the entire schedule is at opportunitycoalition.com. We also, on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, we will post video clips about these speakers, about what they've said, and also the entire video as well. And so even if you're unable to attend, those videos are free for access. And again, our goal is to build those bridges of opportunity, of connection and understanding throughout Colorado. And we're excited. I mean, people already have found new employees, have started new companies together, and have created new initiatives already just by having those sparks, those collective sparks together and meeting in this kind of environment.
And so when did you start Opportunity Coalition? How long has this been going?
We started it a little over a year ago and then really instituted the speaker series this year. One of the things we also do, we charge $20 for the ticket. Half of the cost of the ticket helps to underwrite the Opportunity Coalition. The rest of the cost for the organization I underwrite personally because I believe in it so much. And the other half of the ticket cost, the other $10, we give away for a scholarship. So we were fortunate recently to give Young Americans Bank $1,000 for their kids programs teaching entrepreneurship and financial literacy to kids. And so those are the type of things we're very excited about. We're always looking for different opportunities where we can contribute donations and scholarships and to create that opportunity. Coming next year, we're going to be looking at a second phase of the organization where not only will we have speakers from within Colorado, but also potentially speakers who come in nationally and to share their wisdom as well.
So I got to ask you, how do you keep up with all this?
Well, I've come from the mindset that if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. And so am I busy on a given day? Absolutely. But, I thrive on creating opportunity and empowerment for others. I love to see people blossom. And the way I'm able to get this done is I have just some phenomenal people around me. I've been very blessed with very long-term employees and people who help donate their time and contribute to the organization. And, high tides raise all boats. And together, I believe that we can accomplish much. And I'm not a micromanager. I'm one who comes alongside people and to help set a strategy together and to roll up our shirt sleeves together to go make a positive impact.
So I want to ask you your vision of the future for not only Opportunity Coalition but also Northstar. So maybe you can just pick one to start with and just tell me where you see them going in the future.
Well, for Opportunity Coalition, we'll continue to host these events. Eventually, what I would like to do is host the events in different areas throughout the state and to highlight a business or something. So, for instance, think about the Opportunity Coalition going over to Palisade and hosting that at a winery to learn about the impact of the wine industry in Colorado and how many important jobs it creates in agriculture and the productions of those wines. And so it will grow over time. And to me, success comes in the fact it'll make it worth it, all of it worth it, if one person comes to one event and learns something that ends up making a positive impact or initiative not only in their own lives but in others. And so we've already accomplished that, and so each event that we have, I think, is a continued success. With regards to Northstar, Northstar has always bought assets right here in Colorado and creating jobs and opportunity as well as throughout the country. But a number of years ago, I started focusing on connecting my passions with my profession. And I think when you do that, you don't work another day in your life, because every day is an opportunity to get up and go make something that's going to be beneficial for others. And so for Northstar, we'll continue to buy vacant buildings, creating jobs and opportunity, and frankly go where others may not go. We're willing to invest in communities and in areas that may be blighted, that a lot of investors won't go, but we believe in it because we believe in the American people specifically. In addition, with this school fund, we want to help transform education in Colorado, and I think there's an opportunity to do so throughout the country. We've already had a lot of people speak with us about this, but we have told them our focus is to make sure that we're right here in Colorado right now, and then focus on maybe doing something down the road, maybe in other areas.
Great. Well, we're coming into the last section here of the interview. I just want to ask you a few more quick-hitting entrepreneurial tips and tricks questions. So first one is, if you could start over, what would you do different?
If I could start over, what would I do different? You know, I don't know if I would really do anything different. I mean, we have been so fortunate and blessed. I mean, originally I thought to myself, well, you know, if I would have just had a bunch of money to start with, that I could start my company. But, you know, those lessons of having to go out and to sacrifice and to frankly have stress, it makes one be very creative and very thoughtful and very judicious in terms of how they execute. So I can't think of anything that I would necessarily do differently. However, you know, during the down economy, we had bought a lot of vacant buildings, and it was a gauntlet to get through the down economy. And we took a lot of nicks and bled, frankly, you know, through that down economy. And we tried to do the best we could. And we're not perfect, but going through that down economy helped us earn a few more MBAs at the end of the day. But it was very, very painful. And so I guess if there was one thing that I could have done differently, maybe not from the beginning, but at least from the last few years, was to figure out how to exit through that down economy and have not had so many assets that we had, trying to create jobs and opportunity when nothing was happening out in the marketplace.
What's the best business advice you've ever received?
You know, I think the best business advice that I ever received was to focus on how you can add value to the person across the table. I think oftentimes people in business, they think that they have the best product or widget or service, and they're always trying to focus on the sale, or they're trying to focus on what they can get out of a negotiation or a meeting or a transaction. You know, most meetings I go to today, and I have over the number of years, is to go with an open mind and open arms to say, what can I learn from this person? And what are they doing that could be applied to my life? And then after learning that, what can I do to help benefit them? And I think when you do that, it is a paradigm shift in terms of saying, okay, I'm adding more across the table, or trying to add across the table. And when you do that, great things happen. And people are open to working with you and to figuring out, okay, you know, this person is not in it for just a fee or a commission or to make money or to sell me a product. They're in it because, you know, they believe in what we're doing.
So when I'm at my best, it's usually when I get into a routine, and that's when I'm the most productive. I'm wondering, for a guy like you, I'm sure you get a lot done in a day. Is there any routines or habits that you keep that keep you productive and motivated that you could share?
Well, absolutely. I think that, you know, in working hard, you also have to work smart, and you have to make sure that you're spending time with your family and investing in your family. Making sure that you're keeping your health together, et cetera. And so what I started to do is to kind of connect those things. And there are also times for me to think freely. So for instance, you know, I love to ride my horse. And in riding my horse, it's a great time for me to be out in nature. At the same time, it allows me some undisturbed time to think freely. And I think when you're able to do that, you can begin to think, okay, what is the next thing that I need to do to have the most positive impact? You know, all of us, all we have at the end of the day is our time. And you need to use and to invest your time wisely and not to waste it. And, you know, my stepfather passed away on the floor in front of me when I was 16 years of age, and he was 39 years of age. And I got to see how frail life is and how fleeting it can be, and that every moment of every day is a gift, and to make sure, even though when you're having a bad day, to keep perspective and to make sure you're keeping your eyes on that larger goal of creating that opportunity.
Wow. That's powerful stuff. I appreciate you sharing that. That's going to do it. We're going to wrap it up right here. What's the best way to get a hold of you for the audience if they want to say thank you for doing the interview, or they just want to learn more about Northstar or Opportunity Coalition? Is there a place you would direct them?
Well, there's my personal website, which is brianwatson.us. And in there, it outlines everything from the Opportunity Coalition to Northstar to our foundation about giving, etc. My personal email is Brian, Brian, at northstarcp.com. And the office line for Northstar is 303-893-9500. And so we'd be honored to work alongside people and figure out how we can make a positive difference. And I really appreciate everything that you're doing because interviews like this do make a world of difference. So thank you.